fights against the manner where tyranny is lord, rich and poor. Together we go, forward with Ivanhoe, with Ivanhoe.
Taxes, taxes, and yet more taxes. We were assessed 3 months ago. Last month you came with another levy, and now this. I'll show you.
Destroying a royal proclamation, Robert, is a grave offense.
There's your proclamation. Ask Prince John where we're to get the grain, the livestock, the gold and silver he always demands of us.
Prince John has levied this special tax upon all thanes and nobles without exception. On you, Sir Robert of Thornton, he has set down a tax of
I do
500...
not care what he's set down. I cannot, I will not pay him. Now take your man-at-arms, Dunstan, and get out.
As Prince John's bailiff and collector of taxes, I may not leave until you deliver to me the tax he has levied upon you.
I'll deliver this sword to your black heart if you do not leave at once.
Come, Osric. When Sir Robert's temper has cooled, he'll be more reasonable. We shall return later.
If you come back, I'll run you through.
Sir Robert!
They will return. They will collect the taxes.
I cannot. You suppose they'll search out the grain that we've hidden in the forest?
One way or another, they will collect it, sir.
Not from me. I'll not pay this greedy prince who thinks he can bleed the country white. Have my horse saddled.
Please, sir, calm yourself before your temper overcome you.
Have my horse saddled. I'll make certain that those two are out of my domain directly.
Good day, Sir Alistair.
Ah, Dunstan, how go the tax collections?
Poorly, my lord. I've just been to Thornton where they've not got enough money to meet this new tax levy.
What? Sir Robert pleading poverty is one of the richest lords in the realm. Would that I had his land. It's well known hereabouts that Sir Robert hides rich stores of grain in his woods. I shall see to it that you do not return empty-handed.
These stores of grain hidden in the woods, how can we get them without help?
You must split your forces. Let Osric take the path to the right and you take the one to the left. Look carefully. If Sir Robert tries to interfere with you, he'll have me to contend with.
You're very generous, Sir Alistair. Go on.
Good fortune in your hunting. Sir Robert of Thornton. This is even better than I'd hoped for.
My lord, did you hear a shout?
Yes, there was something. I thought it was one of my men calling.
It was Dunstan's voice. Something must be wrong. I'll go and find out what's happening.
You go ahead. I'll follow you directly.
Dunstan!
Robert of Thornton, in the name of Prince John, I arrest you for the murder of his royal bailiff, Dunstan.
What foolishness is this? I did not kill him.
Put up your sword. Sir Robert is under my protection.
Ivanhoe.
Who struck him down?
I don't know. Yeah, I heard him call out. When I came here a moment ago, he was already dead with this in his back.
Prince John will decide where the guilt lies.
I shall not give Prince John the opportunity to do justice. I will yield Sir Robert only for fair trial by his equals. Quick, Sir Robert, your horse!
Help! Murder! Help!
Sir Alistair!
What has happened? Who's done this?
Sir Robert of Thornton.
What, are you sure?
Who else would have done it, my lord?
But you were in the woods at the time, weren't you, Osric?
But you were with me when we heard the shout. You remember?
Oh, yes, of course, so you were. You've nothing to fear, Osric. I'll bear witness for you. We were together at the time when Dunstan was murdered.
We know that you are an honorable man, Sir Robert. But Ivanhoe did see you standing over the body of the royal bailiff holding that dagger in your hand.
Sir Cedric, if after all these years you could think I could stab a man in the back, I cannot accept refuge here. I'd be no worse facing the courts administering Prince John's so-called justice.
You mistake my father's intention. Sir Cedric believes you're innocent, as indeed I do. And he will continue to believe you're innocent unless you're proven guilty.
But Prince John will say he is guilty until he is proven innocent. And he will demand proof of his innocence. What proof have we got? That dagger? Whose is it? It's a dagger like 100 others.
With great respect, no, my lord. I am a smith, and I tell you, this is an uncommon dagger, made of uncommonly fine steel.
It looks like ordinary steel to me.
Yet this dagger pierced Dunstan's coat of mail. Father, may I have your dagger? The mail is barely scratched. I've seen the like before. It's of Moorish steel, such as they forge in Toledo.
Then any of our knights could have brought one back with him as he passed through Europe, returning from the crusade.
I don't think so. This dagger was forged in England. Look at the handle. It's of stout yew, the kind that grows hereabouts. And the steel shank was turned and fashioned at the time it was made by the artist who made it.
That's true. Then I don't understand it.
I think I do. The Moorish smith that made this dagger was a fine craftsman, so proud of his work that he put his mark on it. Look, the letter R.
Then this Moor must work for some noble ear.
I never heard of such a one.
Well, neither have I, yet it must be so. And when we find the Moorish smith whose name begins with an R, it's almost certain that his master will prove to be the murderer. Sir Robert, I go to Prince John to demand your fair trial, for we must put our trust in the judgment of upright men. If my conditions are accepted, will you surrender to your peers?
I'll do what you say, Ivanhoe.
Good. I will send you word by pigeon of the time and the place if I succeed. I will be there to stand by you, and together we will pin this foul murder where it belongs. Girth, I've a mission for you. Disguise yourself as an ironmonger and go to the nearby castles, pretending to sell metal to the smiths, until you find the Moor whose name begins with an R. Then send me word at once.
Might be a long search. We haven't got much time.
Yes, leave the castles nearest Prince John until last, so that if you do find our man just before the trial, there will be yet time to produce our evidence.
All right, sir. I'll travel north first, and I'll leave the castles of Sir Brian and Sir Alistair until tomorrow morning.
Good man.
And now Ivanhoe and Sir Cedric shield the murderer at Rotherwood. My lords, I've summoned you to hear the evidence of this foul murder. I now publicly proclaim that Sir Robert of Thornton is outlawed. That means it is now the duty of every knight of the realm to hunt him down and slay him. As for his accomplices, Ivanhoe and Sir Cedric, if they refuse to surrender Robert, they must likewise be cut down.
I know Sir Robert, sire, as do these other nobles here. It is hard to believe that he would stab a man in the back.
Sir Alistair. My lords, Sir Robert's action shocks me also. And I find it hard to believe. Still, a fact is a fact, and is not affected by what we choose or would like to believe. Sir Robert was seen with a dagger in his hand. There was no one else about who could possibly have killed Dunstan. It must have been Sir Robert.
It would seem to be so, and yet...
And yet, is what seems to be the same as what is?
Ivanhoe, I command you to surrender Sir Robert to the court.
Gladly, Prince John. If and when he is granted a trial by these his peers.
What need of a trial? You heard the testimony of the eyewitness. Osric saw Sir Robert holding the dagger in his hand.
And is that proof that Sir Robert killed Dunstan? There. This noble holds the mutton bone. But was it he that ate the meat off the bone?
Since the nobles demand a trial, Sir Robert shall have a trial, and a fair one. I summon this court to sit again tomorrow at noon, and I command Sir Robert to appear at that time, with whatever evidence of his innocence he can produce. If Sir Robert is found guilty, he shall hang, and Ivanhoe and Sir Cedric shall suffer the same penalty for having resisted an officer in the execution of his duty while trying to bring a murderer to justice. That is all.
Oh, steward, a message has just arrived by pigeon from Sir Ivanhoe, my lord. Give it here, then. Prince John has granted a fair trial by peers. Sir Robert should attend at the Great Oak in Prince John's courtyard at noon tomorrow. Do not lose heart, Ivanhoe.
Ivanhoe is a friend in need. I must ride immediately. Prince John would be quick to judge me guilty if I were not there to answer the charge.
Have our horses saddled at once. Very good, my lord.
Why in heaven's name was it necessary to kill Dunstan? Good bailiffs are not easily trained. It seemed to me you hinted that if he'd... Hinted? I had no hand in it, Alistair. Naturally, my liege. Sir Robert is a follower of my brother, King Richard's cause. And this murder will help to discredit Richard. Thank you, my lord. Alistair, you stand to gain Sir Robert's land if he is found guilty and hangs. He will be found guilty, my liege. Now think, Alistair, was there anything left on the scene of the crime which can help Robert to prove his innocence? No, nothing. Only the dagger in his back, a dagger like any other. What can be proved by that? With Ivanhoe defending Sir Robert's cause, no one can tell what will be proven. However, Alistair, if Ivanhoe did not appear at the trial by some chance... I understand, my liege. He will not appear.
Still lacks an hour to noon. Time is indeed short.
We haven't far to go.
I'm not thinking of us, but of Ivanhoe. What evidence can he bring with him? Unless the real murderer is discovered, we're doomed men, Sir Cedric.
If the evidence is found, fair trial will ensure acquittal. Ivanhoe will arrive in time. I know, my son.
off. Take the shortcut. You two, follow me. Get after him. Good fellows. Chain him securely. We'll take him to the castle and then throw him in the dungeon.
What do you want?
Oh, I'm an ironmonger. I'd like to see your blacksmith, if I may.
Rinaldo. He's over at the forge.
Rinaldo? Does that word begin with a letter R?
Ah? Oh, I don't know how to spell.
Oh, if so, 'tis a famous name among smiths.
I only know he's a Moor who makes fine weapons. My master brought him back from a city in Europe called Toledo.
Oh, thank you, sir. Well, I'll be glad to meet a man of such great reputation. Good day, sir. Come on, girl. Up.
Late. Sir Robert and Sir Cedric have already arrived. I began to think that you would miss the trial and not Ivanhoe.
For a while it seemed that way.
You mean he may yet be here?
Only when you want him for hanging, my liege. I have him safely in my dungeon.
What is it? Oh, Rinaldo sent me down to replace that iron bar that's rusted.
I didn't know there was one rusted through.
Eh? Oh, that's very bad.
What is?
Very bad. Oh, perhaps he didn't think it was important enough to tell you. But don't worry, I'll see that he does in future.
No need to be so clever. In you come.
It's very damp and cold in there, isn't it?
That's probably why your iron bar rusted through. Still, as you don't like it down here, we'll have it warmed and dried when you come down in future. Your lordship.
Thanks, that'll be very nice.
A good blade, Rinaldo?
It will not hold an age.
Not as good as this, eh?
Sir
Alistair gave you this?
To hold for him. It's a very fine piece.
The best. You see, I put my mark on this, and on the sword.
The sword Sir Alistair wears?
A match said. There is no finer in the country.
Don't force me to use this, Rinaldo. Into the car, as quickly as you can, Garth. Come on.
Cover him with the sack.
Hear ye. The court of Prince John is in session to hear the evidence in the murder of Dunstan, royal bailiff. All rise for Prince John. You have heard Osric, the royal man-at-arms, testify.
Yes, sire.
He said he found Dunstan dead at your feet, and you held a dagger which killed him. No one else was present. Is that a true account of the facts?
Yes, sire. But as God is my witness, I did not kill Dunstan.
Well, since there is no further testimony to be heard or evidence to be presented...
There is further evidence, Prince John. Sir Alistair, may I have your sword?
No man has my sword unless he takes it.
By God!
Murderer. Here, my lords, is evidence. The dagger that killed Dunstan and Sir Alistair's sword. A matching pair. And on each, the mark of the smith that made them. R for Rinaldo, armorer and smith to Sir Alistair. You are in the court of Prince John, before the knights of the realm assembled. Do you, in the sight of God, swear to answer all questions truthfully?
I swear.
You are Rinaldo, the Moorish smith?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize these?
Of course. They bear my mark. I made them for my master, Sir Alistair.
Prince John, you have heard the testimony. And here is the clear evidence of Sir Robert's innocence. If you would do justice, you will free Sir Robert and try Sir Alistair for the murder of your bailiff Dunstan.
Free Sir Robert. Free Sir Robert. Free Sir Robert. This court finds Sir Robert innocent and orders him released. Sir Alistair shall be held and tried for the murder of the royal bailiff Dunstan.
My boy, I'm proud of you. I'm deeply grateful.